That's not the one we called up, is it? Man, that'd take a while. And this is how you come down. Here we go, Tony. Now, you got to tell me your last name because I know I'll butcher it. I've only read it.
Okay, my name is Tony Debonis. I'm an Okanagan resident since 1994.
94?
1994. I moved up from the Lower Mainland. Grew up in Prince George a little bit with mom and dad there for about 5 or 6 years. That's where I learned to hunt. And then we moved down to Langley, and of course we lived in Langley, and we hunted all over BC from there, and primarily your backyard, Pemberton and stuff like that, just for weekends. Oh yeah, and then yeah, in 1994 I moved up for work in the Okanagan, and haven't gone to the Lower Mainland since, basically. Well, just for
Yeah.
family, but
No.
no, and just hunted all over BC, kind of like you probably. So it's been good. Yeah.
And you got 3 boys?
I got 3 sons. Yeah, they're what, 25, 23, and 20, I guess, right now.
Oh, so you barely got to feed them anymore.
Yeah, yeah, and they're always your kids, so you got to help them, I guess. I'm fortunate. I'm grateful that they hunt with me. Of course, that's super special.
What a freaking gift!
Yeah,
Shit.
it is. It's a gift. The one shame is my father, who was my mentor. Of course, he never got a chance to hunt with my kids. He passed away, and then my oldest at that time just turned 10, so never got the 3 generations out there, but we were close.
That's
But
pretty cool, then, man. That's
I know,
awesome.
yeah, no, for sure. We're keeping his name going, so that's good.
So did you sheep hunt and everything with your dad?
My dad was never a sheep hunter. He just wanted to stick a knife in something. That's all he cared about. He didn't care about who shot it or whatever. He was just happy that we got some meat for the freezer. We got to hang something up in camp. It could be a moose. It could be a cow, a calf moose back then in the Prince George, and we had draws. He shot any buck in Pemberton. Of course, we'd always limit out in Pemberton. Of course, back in the good old days, we got 2 each every time.
Right
Um,
on.
he just wanted to stick a knife in something because he came from the old country of Italy where food was hard to get. He grew up. He was a teenager during World War II, and he had to go into town in Italy there in this little hometown and basically steal salt and sugar from the stores when the Nazis weren't there and stuff. So food was hard to get.
Yeah.
So that old generation, right? Made them tough.
Yeah. Well, all the old school boys didn't really give too much shits about the antlers, really. A
Yeah,
lot.
the only thing he ever killed was a mountain goat, but he never. He was on some hunts up north with my brother-in-law and his brother and stuff, which and they killed some rams. I mean, my dad didn't, but he'd be in camp. He'd go moose hunting and caribou hunting and stuff. Wasn't really cared about the sheep. So,
Well, at least you got to go.
oh yeah, for sure. No, he
So
loved
they go down horses, or you jump in planes?
mostly primarily float planes. Yeah, float
Oh
planes,
yeah,
jump, land on the lakes and stuff.
right on.
Yeah, man, back then, Alaska Highway just with a pickup truck and some three wheelers, the ATCs and stuff, and
Yeah.
going up those roads up in the Alaska Highway and bringing home some moose and caribou. Actually, they're big. The biggest hunt, I got pictures of it in my book. Actually, was 1977. They went into Spences Plateau, and just looking at the pictures, I mean, they got 3 caribou, 1 moose, mountain goats, and they just took them all home in a car in a Cutlass Supreme, like all the Cutlass Supreme 4-door car had
What?
racks and horns on the top of it.
No way.
Oh yeah, all the way back to Vancouver, and the meat was in Smithers at the butcher, I guess. So
So
yeah,
Langley. That's kind of an oddball random move from Prince George to Langley, eh?
well, no, you were in Langley first, actually. Then we moved there for 4 or 5 years, but they always owned the hobby farm in Langley, like since
Oh,
1979. So I grew up on the hobby farm. So hard work, and you couldn't play until you collected the eggs from the chickens and you castrated the bulls and the
yeah.
pigs and stuff and whatever you had to do. So
Okay, cool. So you still
yeah,
live rural. You
oh,
get into
rural,
you get into the
rural.
big blacktails around there?
We did, yeah, back in the day, yeah.
No way.
Yeah, some of them ended up in the freezer.
There's some
Because
monsters around there. I know a guy that got a 150-inch blacktail down there.
recently,
Nah, probably 10 years ago or something.
okay, well, yeah, yeah, we grew up there when they bought the property. Walnut Grove didn't even exist. Like they bought rural property just by Derby Reach and the Fraser River there,
Oh yeah,
and it was just bush, just bush. There's deer everywhere. It was
sweet.
great. Yeah, yeah, good old days.
So what's the first thing you ever killed when you're hunting?
First thing was a deer up in Lillooet, Carpenter Lake. Yeah,
Oh yeah, carpenter up on the
oh
ridge.
yeah, Carpenter. Yeah, we'd had up there September opening, whatever it was, and I think I was 10 years old. My first deer was whatever it was, a spiker, was it whatever, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to get my first buck down. So it was yeah, we spent a lot of years hunting Lillooet up by Carpenter Lake, Tyotin Lake.
Yeah.
You probably know that whole country there too. So
Oh,
Relay as well. We used to hike the mountains up Relay into the Alpine, and
yeah.
eventually the bucks got bigger and bigger and bigger, right? But a lot of good
What do you mean?
days.
Bigger and bigger as time went on, or as the up the
Well,
mountain?
no, as time went on, even my kids, we call them ladder bucks, right? You start with a spike when you're 10 years old, 11, the next one's going to be a 2-pointer, then a 3-pointer,
Yeah.
4-pointer, right? So, and now, I mean, I let deer go every year, and probably like you, right? You want to have a good, decent, respectable, mature buck now. So,
Oh yeah, and you want to milk it too. Who wants to tag out and go home?
exactly, right? Hunting
Yeah.
season's pretty short. Like deer season's pretty short. So, and the prime deer season and during the rut is even shorter. So, you got to enjoy it.
So you got to hunt carpenter and all that. Was it burnt? Was that 5 mile or what's it called? 5 mile, right?
No, it
5 mile
wasn't.
ridge? Eight
It
mile.
wasn't. It wasn't burnt back then. No, it
Was
wasn't
there
burnt.
bucks back then?
There was bucks everywhere. We'd hike on the top of the mountains and they'd be bounding over the hills. I remember, like, we'd just get up to the peak and boom, boom, they'd be bouncing everywhere. We'd be glassing the basins there towards Spruce Lake, I think it's called, and
Yeah.
looking down on Gold Bridge, I think. There's bucks everywhere. God,
What
the
about
one
hunters?
what's that?
What about hunters?
Nobody wanted to go up top. They were all in the pickup trucks and the clear cuts down the bottom off of Marshall Lake Road and wherever else they were, right?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just hunting the clear cuts. But my dad said, "No, let's go hike this mountain." And we go up there, and then we'd end up staying the night under a spruce tree. You know, no tarp, no nothing. It's like okay,
Perfect.
pack a deer down. Yeah, good old time, good old days for
Did you
sure.
see any big rams around there then?
We saw a few Californias there. I remember I was a teenager back then. I didn't know much about sheep, but we saw a ram. I saw white butts running away and horns. Um, yeah, I never shot one though. Never shot one up there.
Hmm.
But we,
You know when you pass the dam in Carpenter when you're heading
yeah,
out,
yeah,
dam's on the left.
yeah,
There's a handful of sheep there on the right.
yeah.
just past there. Like I did more wolf cleanup around there than deer hunting because when I was in Pemberton, like everybody from Whistler, Pembina, Squamish went to Carpenter, right?
Yeah, I bet.
Everybody, and rarely did anybody get much over 160-inch buck. And I'm like, I'm sure you're the same. I just can't stand seeing people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh
if
yeah.
I your mule deer, I'd leave. But so most of my hunting around there was wolves. But I really scoured the shit out of that place. But get
Yeah.
this, is like I had this is the last check before it was over, and I had 3 wolves hanging there, and they're all like bursting. And I'm like, holy shit. And there's a native guy there with me, another guy, and they want him. I didn't give a shit. I just need him gone. And I said, when you get him home, because I'm not into it, but let me know how many were in that one, right? They got home. All 3 of them were jam packed with sheep meat.
Oh wow, crazy.
And not pups. And they had 7 point something to 9 point something pounds of meat in each one's tummy.
No, I bet.
Yeah. And they had one had show the picture of the full femur and the ball joint, chunk of bone that big in the ball joint in its tummy.
Just swallowed the whole thing.
Yeah.
My gosh.
And you know what? And I spent so many winters up there, and I never once, ever, not once, seen anybody go in there to count sheep or count moose or hunt or trap wolves. Nothing.
I know.
Nothing.
I got a follower on social media right now, and he was telling me he does some trapping and stuff that he knows guys that are trapping or natives that are trapping or hunting in Lytton area, and they're trapping wolves right now. I guess it's thick with wolves all the way to Spences Bridge, and they're killing all the sheep there. There's a
Yeah.
pack of wolves just decimating the whole Spences Bridge herd, but you don't really hear about it, you know.
Well, you know what? Did you ever go on HBC?
Oh, yeah, long time ago. Yep.
Yeah, I haven't been on there for a long time either. And that was the first time I got online, and I was right in the peak of learning I knew how bad, like when I came back from up north, God, I'm like, what? And I was talking to Rick Gander and everybody that had trap lines around Pembroke, and I said to Rick, so where'd you get your most wolves? And he goes, oh, I never trapped any wolves. What?
Yeah.
It's weird for me to hear. I'm like, you what? You never trapped any wolves? Then I talked to the next trap line owner, Pemberton. Okay, where'd you get the wolves? Oh, I never trapped a wolf. What?
Yeah.
Right?
No. Yeah.
So here I was getting going on there. And then I shot that 150, whatever the hell, blacktail. And then Clark was at my place having a beer, and he goes, hey, do you mind if I put this on HBC? I go, on what? He goes, I had a flip phone, right? And he goes, yeah, well, everybody's on there. I'm like, I'm not on there. So they showed me, he put my picture of the buck on there, and they showed me how many people were clicking on it. And my brain went instantly, oh my God, I can teach all these guys how to kill wolves.
There you go.
That's how I got online. That was the first week, like, oh my God, right? Because when I realized it, and I don't give a shit. I could say this, but I go to the sheep show, right? And I talk to the president. What did you guys do for wolves? Well, we went and we transported X amount of sheep. Oh yeah. Did you send anybody to where you dropped them off to see if there's about 10 packs of wolves or an over influx of cougars there before you dropped them off right there? Because I already know you didn't.
Yeah.
Right. And I even said to all these guys, I spent $10,000 of my own money average in wintertime. I'm not trying to babble to take time here, but it's got to let you know this. And I never once saw one set of boot prints out there checking on the wolves or the carnage, not once.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, like you say about Spences, somebody's got to do it, man. That's all there is to it.
Well, me and the boys, we've hunted Revelstoke many years, like for the last 20 years. Even before when the kids were babies, me and Mom would take them up there and go black bear hunting, grizzly hunting. We've taken 3 or 4 grizzlies out of there.
Nice.
But we met a trapper that had the trap line south of Revelstoke one time when we were there, and he was checking traps. And I asked him, because we see wolves crossing the logging roads in Revelstoke, eh? And we asked him, you ever trap the wolves? He goes, they're the hardest ones to trap. He says they'll smell the twig that you move to tie your trap. Like, he's just how clever they are. Like, you brush aside a twig and that your scent will stay there, and they're so smart. But he said, and it made sense because we saw a depopulation of black bears there as well. And he says the wolves are getting so hungry in Revelstoke, they're decimating the black bears. And he said the bigger the black bear, the more susceptible they are of getting eaten by a pack of wolves because they can't climb a tree fast enough like a little one.
All right.
And that's what he was saying. The bigger the black bear, the easier they're taken down by a pack of wolves.
Yeah. Well, they dig them out of the holes too, eh?
Yeah, that too, right?
Yeah.
So once they get a taste of black bear like pork meat, their days are numbered.
Yeah.
Right?
Like I watched 2 wolves torment a sow grizzly and her one cub up in the sheep hills. Like tormented her.
Yeah.
Like one laid down in front of her. They kept on going like this, you know, and one just laid down in front of her about, I don't know, 5 yards from her. Like, I just almost read his mind. He's like this.
Like a dog.
Oh, wow. It's just a matter of time. We're going to go. Right?
Yeah.
Like, they'll eat anything. But have you ever heard of, do you know Kyle Lay? You know the Lays out of Williams Lake?
No.
Heard of them? They're like third generation predator guys and houndsmen. These dudes, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I spent a lot of years trying to figure out the wolves, but what these guys taught us, I paid for this advanced course, is unfreaking believable. The shit
for trapping them.
Yeah. You know, like the cinch and everything. I used to put on rubber surgical gloves. I'd do every single thing, just terrified. I'd parallel a trap and a track, and I'd look ahead, and I'd try to come in on a tee, get my stuff ready, hang the snare, and then get out of there.
Yeah.
And they said flat out, you'll never fool them. They know you're there.
I know.
You'll never, ever fool them. Get this one, what they proved. They said, if you got foot traps out and you drive up there in your truck, if you stop, don't unroll your window if it wasn't unrolled. I'm like, what? But if these guys say something, it's as good as frickin' platinum. And I go, what? He goes, nope, don't do it, because it makes everything different. And they know something's up. If you're going to go up and check by the truck, unroll your window a couple miles before you get there and leave it unrolled and carry on with it unrolled. That's how.
What's the difference?
Dude, get this one. Well, there's too much. I'll text you all my notes I saved from the course so you can read some shit. But there's another thing too. They said if you have something going on emotionally, distressed, having a fight, divorce, anything, just some kind of shit going on, you're not straight between the ears today or tomorrow this week. They said, don't go wolf trapping.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but get this one. I'm like, what? And this native guy from Alberta was in the course, and he was a full on, like, you can tell, anybody tells you they got like 15 wolves a year, they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And he goes, yeah, usually I got 14, 18, sometimes 20 wolves a year. And then I was going through alcohol abuse and blah, 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 and I got a divorce. I caught 2 wolves.
Explain that.
So I can't explain it. I can't. But I'm sure if you sat down with the Lays, if I had one of the courses, they'd explain it perfect. I got all my notes. I'll forward you my notes, because they even said a wolf in a trap, the wolves will bring a wolf in, foot traps. They don't break the skin. They just pull on you.
Yeah.
The wolves will bring them food.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah. The shit that they taught me, that after I thought I was a pretty good wolf killer.
Yeah.
I'll send you the notes. You'll be looking at notes going, what the hell?
Well, definitely in BC, we definitely have to manage the wolf population. It's out of control. Like even east of town here in Kelowna, you go towards Beaverdale, Rock Creek, Christian Valley. I heard there's a herd of about there's a pack of 30 in the Christian Valley, and they're cleaning up everything, all the elk, the moose. Once they get the wind of a white-tailed doe, her days are numbered. They just run her down. Days are numbered.
Yeah,
I got a buddy out there. He lives on 500 acres. He kind of got away from the whole freaking crazy circus of life here, and sold everything and homesteads out there. And he says, yeah, there's a pack of wolves, about 30, and they're just cleaning up everything.
So frustrating, eh?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like I said, when I was in Pemberton and they were blowing up, and there was a lot of people jumped all over me. I didn't give a shit. I don't care. A lot of people did. A lot of people didn't. And then out in Owl Ridge, a woman who was full on anti-wolf trapping. Well, I guess the wolves came and whacked her dog, and then they chased their other dog right up to her feet in the entrance of her house. Yeah. And then same place, Owl Ridge, another guy, they had to listen to their family dog get shredded in the backyard.
Oh.
Then the community got together and gave old Steve a call, right? The bad guy. So then all of a sudden I'm their best friend. But get this one. So I went up there and I said to him, I went out back and I found the dog's head, and it had a plastic collar on its neck and only had about 16 inches of vertebrae sticking out of its skull with its head. So I go back and I go, I found your dog. Where is it? I go, you probably don't want to go see it. And he goes, just tell me where it is. All right. And then he went and checked it out. And then I phoned him later on and said, look, don't get your kids and don't get a dog until that whole pack's got to be killed, or they're just going to keep doing it. So get the wolf does. So if you put a meatball in your backyard, just a meatball,
Mhm.
and one wolf grabbed that meatball in your backyard, that wolf will check your backyard for the rest of its life every time they come through.
Sure.
That's
They got
just like a dog hitting the garbage can at home and you forget to take the lid off, right? They don't stop checking.
Oh
So
yeah.
anyway, I told him, said, don't do it. And then to the CEOs who I was friends with said, dude, you're not allowed to trap on that side of the highway. I'm like, you're not? Oh, shit. Oops. But anyway, so, well, they went and got this expensive frickin' puppy online or some damn thing. The first night they let it on the porch, the wolves shredded the backyard.
Of course they did. Yeah, of course. That's
Oh,
pretty sad.
yeah,
Yeah.
but one thing up north, they're doing a big, they're taking care of it with helicopters. They just don't advertise it.
Exactly, and they should be just like the old days.
And they're getting big numbers. But down here in BC, down here in South, I mean, I don't think they can even get away with it down here, really, could they?
Oh, you wouldn't be able to. Yeah. Well, back in the old days, even before your time up north, they were the guide outfitters were taking. Well, the outfitters were taking care of the wolves, right?
Oh yeah, oh
From the
yeah.
air, from
They're
the
doing,
air,
they're doing everything.
or picnics or whatever they had to do.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. They're definitely taking care of them for sure.
I know, and that's why the game numbers were huge back then. So
Yeah. It's amazing how fast it goes. So what's your favorite hunt?
favorite hunt? You know what? I'm going to say this. A lot of people probably won't agree with it, but spring grizzly hunting. That's
What?
my favorite hunt I miss it so much. Ever since that government took it away in 2017, I haven't been the same. Glassing those avalanche slides in the springtime for
Oh, the Grizzly.
Grizzlies, yes.
Oh, I thought you meant black bears. I was like, huh?
No, spring grizzlies, Steve. Spring grizzlies.
Yeah, yeah.
Ever since they freaking got rid of that hunt, I mean, it's just been a lot of us miss it, and that's probably our one of ours. And I got pictures of my boys here with grizzlies in the cave here. Um, Actually, we've got one grizzly right there, mounted. Yeah,
Oh
but
yeah.
oh yeah, no, just that's the hunt I look forward to every year. I mean, sheep hunting. I love sheep. Sheep's great. I've got 4 of them on the wall, I think. But hunting grizzly is one of my favorite things. Just listening to the birds, the running streams, the beautiful sun air, and getting a suntan when you want to tan, and just glassing in the morning, glassing in the evening. Nothing beats that,
It's pretty
right?
cool.
It is, yeah.
There's nothing like it. You know what I used to tell people when I first started guiding? Because I wasn't really into grizzly bears growing up on the island, right? I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna be a grizzly hunter now. And then
Yeah,
you gotta admit there's nothing like it.
there's nothing like it.
You know what I mean? Well, you
Yeah,
know what I mean. It's
I
like
know.
if I tell hunters, I go, look, if you're into hunting, whether or not you pull the trigger or not, you need to go on a grizzly hunt at least once. Because there's nothing
Exactly.
like it. There's nothing like it.
Exactly. And we've hunted the spring lake all the way up to Dease Lake and Iskut in the springtime, Telegraph and the Alaska Highway. Well, Alaska Highway is the fall, but the spring hunting in the Kootenays and then up Highway 6, we didn't get a grizzly bear every time. Like it was just getting out camping and being in the wilderness, right? Just seeing everything.
Oh
Just
yeah.
God's glory of mountains and snow and avalanche slides and crossing streams with not bare feet, but with your hiking boots with no socks on. Just love that stuff. Roll up your pants or cross the river in your undies and just go. You know.
Where'd you see your biggest bear? Not the one you shot, but where did you see your? Not exactly, obviously, but
Yeah,
where's
biggest
the biggest
bears.
bear you ever saw?
Biggest bears I would have to say is a Tachoti in the Tachoti range. Yeah. It was actually on a sheep hunt. I think it was 2008 on the top, looking over, I think it was the Chiska drainage or Gatto or something like that. And, oh yeah, he was definitely an 8-foot boar or bigger. Of course it was August though, so he wasn't open at the time. So, but yeah, that's the biggest bear. I've
It's-
seen many up in the Northern Rockies where you worked a lot.
yeah,
There's beasts up there. There's beasts.
yeah.
And right now it's been closed for what? Almost God 7, yeah, almost 7 or 8 years now. Those boards are getting meaner and bigger and more brave. So everyone's got to look out when they go into bear country.
Oh, dude, yeah. It's like when I did most of my years at Stone Mountain, but I worked for 5 or 6 different outfitters across BC, and then one unfortunate experience in the Yukon.
Yeah.
Uh, I was always, I don't know why, I always seemed to be North Alaska Highway wherever I got it. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
tell you what, man, the grizzly bears north of Summit Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my, down those foothills on that side. Well, I
Yeah.
got it. That's where I got mine, 8'8". But we had
Yeah.
a couple I got a video there. If they weren't 9 feet, they were 9'4".
No way, that big, eh? Wow.
Stupid huge.
Yeah.
Stupid huge. Yeah. But you know
So
what? The the biggest footprint I ever seen in my life, bear print, was at Duffy Lake.
okay, that's Duffy Lake, that's Goldbridge in area, isn't it?
Yeah, you know Duffy, Lilo at
Yeah.
Pemberton.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, the south end of that lake on the far side in the corner, and this mudslide in the timber. And same thing, summertime, springtime, look down like, holy shit, look at that freaking grizzly track.
Well, they're
He's
they're they're coastal, right? They come up from the coast there. Bella Coola and Night Inlet's not too far away from there.
yeah, no, they have to be because some of the bears we've seen around Pemberton, and you know those
Yeah.
ones in Squamish, they totally look like coastals.
Oh, they're coastal bears, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Up
but
up when we were hunting the Alpine up Relay Creek, we saw grizzlies too up top there. Luckily we never had to, get too close to them, but man, we seen them. And it's like you're thinking you always should expect black bears, but no, they're grizzlies.
yeah, it sucks. You know, the same people that shut down grizzly bears are probably the same people today that put tampons in the boys' bathroom.
100%. Yeah, and the rainbow sidewalks.
Guaranteed, right?
Yeah. Right.
Oh my god, huh?
Yeah, so hopefully we get a change of government. They bring the hunt back one day because when they took it away, they even self-acknowledged it wasn't to do with science at all. It was what do they call it? It was no longer socially
Socially
acceptable.
acceptable.
That was their freaking term. I mean, it's just wrong. They should at least lie and say it's based on science. We did aerial views and we counted 20
Yeah,
left in these ears on.
yeah,
But it's
yeah,
like no, it's no longer socially acceptable.
yeah, yeah. Well, you
Which
know
is wrong.
where you know where Summit Lake is
Yeah,
on Alaska Highway, right?
yeah. Just
You know,
that's before Muncho or north of it.
before Toad River,
Mhm.
highest point Alaska Highway, the Rock Cut.
Yeah, yeah,
You know the Rock Cut.
yeah, yeah,
Then the Stone Range, those hills on the right, the mountains on the right, heading north. Stone
yeah,
Range right there.
yeah,
So camp I was in was about crow flies straight northeast from those on the back slopes of those hills where I was in camp, right there, right.
yeah.
And the first year that the grizzly were closed, I counted 13 different grizzlies in 4 square miles,
I bet.
just right there.
Yeah, crazy, eh?
There's no fish there,
No,
right?
There's a lot of food for them, a lot of game. So
Yeah, very, very frustrating. Well, we'll see what happens. I don't know. You know what? I always thought, and I still think this: if you aren't a hunter or an angler, you shouldn't have a voice in what goes on with hunting and fishing. Period.
that's a good point. Yeah, yeah,
Period.
it's true. Yeah,
Right?
you're letting all these bureaucrats freaking make decisions on a grizzly per se, and they've never even seen a grizzly live.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
So if you had your last, that was it. So if your last kick the cans, you're like, okay, Tony, you get to go on one more hunt. Anytime you're in the world, you're going to pick grizzly bear.
Yeah, yeah, I want that to come back for sure. Yeah. And
That's
it's not about even harvesting one, Steve. It's just about just getting out there. I just love it, and just the adrenaline of it. And when you do see them, and you got to stalk them, you got to play the wind. And it's something that can actually it's adrenaline, but it's something that can take you out. You get the same adrenaline with mountain sheep, but they're not going to take you out. You get close to a ram, but they're not going to take you out, right?
yeah. I don't know if
They're
it's the
not
same.
going to. They're
I
not
used
going
to
to come.
describe it. Sorry.
They're not going to come barreling. A sheep's not going to come barreling down the hill at you with his horns. You know.
Oh, shit. I know. I think. Well, what I tell people, I say, there isn't a hunt available that will make you feel what you feel when you're starting that fight. There's nothing.
There isn't, yeah.
When you're committing, you see a big ram, it's like, hey, we're gonna go kill it. Like every single time I commit to get something, it's almost like you get that little bit of a weird jolt goes through your whole body when you know it's game on. Like, here we go.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Right? But with the grizzly bear, who knows how this is going to end? I hope it ends perfect for me.
I know.
There's always that chance, right?
Yeah, no, just hunting, just getting out with friends and family doesn't it doesn't really matter what you're hunting, but grizzly is by far my favorite, and then of course mountain sheep, and I mean you can't say no to an elk hunt when they're screaming back at you and stuff, and
Right.
they're so vocal, so
That looks pretty good, man. That looks pretty freaking exciting.
elk is they're the most entertaining animal to hunt because they talk back at you, right?
Any calling? Have you ever been turkey hunting?
I tried it locally here, just east of town. Never got one yet. I've tried calling, but never got one yet. How
Yeah, I
about
think
you?
Yeah, well, remember when we were kids? Well, kids, remember it was always just what was it? Outdoor Life magazine,
Yeah.
Peterson's hunting magazine.
Oh, Peterson's. Yeah, I got 100 of those. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it comes springtime and come, and it'd just be like bass, black bear, and turkeys on the magazine. You'd be like, oh god, here we go again,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And I had these hunters say, hey man, we're gonna fly down to Memphis, take on a gentleman hunt for turkey in Missouri. I'm like, I'll come down, but can't we just buy a butterball and go for beers? Like, come on, because we don't know. And you know what? I went down there, and make a long story short, I'm sitting in the dark with my back against this tree, and they already got the decoys out of the meadow and start. All of a sudden, you hear this, and it's exactly like elk hunting.
Yeah.
Like, did you hear that?
Yeah.
And he's going, shh, don't hear it. And then up there, up in that, I'm like, did you hear that? Like, yeah. And I'm sitting there, and then you hear them fly down from roost. Dude, I was starting to get adrenaline. And I remember being aware of it. I'll never forget the first time. I'm like, holy shit, I'm getting freaked out from the stupid birds. Seriously?
From a turkey.
Yes, from a turkey. And then after that, I think I hunted them in like 9 different states.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
You got to try it. You wouldn't.
Yeah, no.
An experienced hunter, and I guarantee you, we grew up kind of snickering at the turkey hunters, right? In BC.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's different than down here in the Kootenays. I think a lot of guys just drive around them. They just shoot them with a rifle.
Probably, yeah. There's some guys in town here that actually call them in.
They go for it.
Yeah, Rock Creek area and stuff. They do it. So I'm going to try it this spring. May as well. Yeah.
Man, well, when you go to the southern states where they've been hunted for generations,
yeah,
it's something else. Yeah, something else.
It looks like fun. Yeah.
Hey, did you know Dave Brown died a little while ago? He was like, what's his name? Aria on.
Oh yeah, Uri. Yeah, Uri. Yeah, he was on Hunt BC. Yeah.
Wicked dude.
He was. Yeah, I never met him, but I used to follow his stuff on HBC.
Awesome dude. He's dead.
Yeah, I heard he passed away. Yeah, that's right.
100% due to the enforced job.
Yeah, I bet.
Shitty deal, eh? But we'll talk about him in a minute. But I'm going to mention him a couple times, but while we're still on the hunting topic.
Yeah.
He had 200-inch freaking white. He lived in Kelowna.
Yeah.
He had 200 plus whitetails on his trail cameras.
I know.
I didn't know that.
He did a really good job with his trail cameras. Yeah.
I didn't know those deer were around you guys.
There's some big ones. Oh yeah, I've got a few sheds here. I never killed a hog. I've caught 149-inch bucks and stuff, but nothing bigger. But there's some good ones there. You just got to be patient. A lot of guys pop their cherry on the first decent 4-point they get for the freezer, but there's still some good ones.
Did you know they were that big around there?
Oh yeah.
No shit.
Like I was telling you, me and my buddy Kevin, we hunt Beaverdale with our kids, and we saw one crossing Highway 33 a few years ago he had to go 165 or so. And of course, he jumped right across the highway into someone's cultivated field. He was in a no-go zone. So.
Of course.
Yeah. But no, there's a few. Probably, I'd say one out of every 75 or 100 is a monster.
Oh yeah.
Not like the Peace River. Peace River, they're way more bigger bucks, right? But
oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I've been ripping around the past few years by myself.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one, the Hat Creek Ranch.
Yeah.
Get this one. So the owner, I think they just auctioned that off this year. I don't know if it's gone through or not. But anyway, so a friend of mine was a veterinarian for them, and he got a hold of the guy, and they had such a bad wolf problem. They had to leave an old Dodge diesel pickup truck in the pen with the cows idling all night long. And if the motor died, they go in and kill the cows.
That's crazy.
Right? So anyway, my buddy's telling me, he goes, yeah, they got a 185-inch whitetail down there. I'm like, I know they didn't. I didn't even know there was whitetail there at that time, right? Because I went and stayed at the ranch and killed wolves for him. Real nice guy. But my buddy showed me the picture of this thing. Is this cranker, non-typical whitetail with like 7-inch bases on it, probably like 26 wide.
Holy crap!
And I'm like, no, it didn't. Yeah, ask him when you're down there trapping. I'm like, okay. So we trapped for a bit, and then I go, and there's other cabins on that property in that valley. And I go, so you guys got some huge whitetails here? And I guess he might be a bit of a dick with hunters because he was telling me how he shuts the gate off in the fall to stop people from going up the valley. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're one of those. Whatever, none of my business. But I asked him, I go, did some guys shoot a huge whitetail here last fall or something? He goes, and he kind of looked at me like, oh, you know what I mean? And I go, don't worry, I'm not hunting around here. I don't need a spot. But it's just, I didn't know whitetail were here. He goes, yeah, they got it right down by that cabin. And I go, they did? He goes, oh, yeah. He said they came up from Vancouver. The women are in the cabin. The guys are out hunting around. They came back to the cabin to eat lunch. And the wife looks out the window and goes, well, isn't that what you're looking for right there?
Oh, jeez.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, they dumped it. 187-inch frickin' Alberta whitetail.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Hat Creek Ranch.
Yeah. And then you mentioned the wolves that are there. Those are the same wolves that freaking go down the Spences Bridge. It's that one big range.
100%.
Right?
100%. Yeah. Well, sadly, Pemberton, since I moved away, but Pemberton's blowing up right now with them. They are everywhere.
Yeah, I bet, eh?
People's yards. I went down there the other day to help a native kid, good friend of mine, get him more dialed in, and he didn't have the right gear. I'm like, oh, shit. And then, of course, time's running out, so I don't know what to do. I might go get a bunch of foot traps. Because if you, I can show you guys this too. This is the Lays program. You can clean up those 30 wolves in your buddy's property.
Yeah.
You kill all of them in the same set with hold on. You can kill all of them with the same 3 foot traps.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like bang, 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 bang. If you from that Lays wolf trapping course.
Okay. Yeah.
Bunch goes to it, but anyway. So you seen something weird in the woods before, or heard something happen?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, you've had some experiences too, eh?
Didn't ask for it.
Yeah, neither did I. That's for sure.
Do you know many people that have?
What's that?
Do you know many people that have?
I know 2 others that have. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Were
2 others that have. What's that?
Were they with you?
No, they weren't. No, I just heard stories talking to them. But mine, I mean, honestly, my experience, and I'll share this with you. I got no problem with that. You're probably the 5th person to tell to know about it. The only other people that know about it are my 3 sons and my wife.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So in 1997, we lived in Oliver, BC, so South Okanagan. So yeah, so it was my wife was working at the local dealership there. She had to work Saturday, so Friday after work, I'm like, "Are you working tomorrow?" She's like, "Yeah, I got to work tomorrow, so I'm going to go hunting for the weekend then." So I had my brand new 1997 Dodge pickup truck, and I had like a 1985 camper on it or something. So I'm like, headed up the hill, headed east of town out of Oliver, up towards a place called Mount Baldy. And yeah, so Mount Baldy area. And set up in a clear cut that I'd scoped out in the summertime. We'd quad around. I'm like, I want to come back here in the fall and go hunting. So I got there in the dark, drove into this landing at the end of a cut block, and the cut block was probably 4 kilometers long. Some cross ditches that I made through no problem. Set up in the dark at the end of the landing. Just jumped in the camper and went to bed. And I'm sleeping, and about 11 or 12 o'clock at night, I just hear snapping of branches. I'm like, boom, but there weren't just branches, Steve. They're like big, sound like big 8 to 12-inch trees. I'm like, what the heck's making that noise? I'm laying there in my sleeping bag. Like, what the heck is that? I'm like, okay, maybe there's some moose fighting or some elk are rutting and mowing down some stuff. Snap, snap, snap. And then all of a sudden, the blood curdling screaming is going on. I'm like, what the fuck is that noise? I'm laying in my sleeping bag and I get my flashlight. I turn it on because I'm fucking kind of scared. I'm like, what the hell is that sound? Blood curdling scream like somebody was getting disemboweled. I'm like, what the hell? And continued snapping. And then weird, like yelling or moaning, whatever. I can't even mimic it, right? I'm like, okay. And at the time, I didn't think of anything strange. I just thought, okay, this is kind of weird. Maybe it's moose or elk are fighting or grizzly bear took down a moose or something. But these trees that were breaking, they were probably 150 yards away from a camper, and I can hear them loud, boom, crack, boom, like a D6 was driving over a bunch of trees, right? Anyways, I put some earplugs in because I didn't want to hear any more stuff. I wanted to sleep, right? So I put my earplugs in. I freaking fall asleep, thankfully. Wake up in the morning, it's dark, everything's quiet. I go outside, take a piss, grab my rifle out of my cab of my truck, and throw my backpack on, got my camera in there, and got my freaking water and some snacks. I start walking, just going deer hunting, right? I'm going to walk just before daylight down the cut block and see what I can see. I walked the whole 4 kilometers there to the main logging road, nothing. Which is strange because usually there's deer everywhere. Like, oh, the doe here, a spiker here, whatever. Nothing. I'm like, okay. I get to the logging road, take a water break, freaking start walking back, glassing the cut blocks or whatever. Nothing. I think it was about 11 o'clock, midday. It's getting hot out now because it's September, and I take my pack off and my shirt off because I'm hot and sweaty. So I jump in the camper, I make a soup and sandwich and a cold beer or something like that. And I'm sitting there and just finished my sandwich and my drink, and I'm like, I gotta go see what that noise is all about. So I grabbed my rifle, left my backpack, my camera, and everything else in the truck, and I walked down the end of the landing, and it was about 150 to 200 yards to the next block of trees, right, where I heard the sounds coming from. So I walk down there. I'm just in my t-shirt with my 30-06, walking in the forest, and I start walking in the forest. And I'm walking in there, Steve, and there was trees that were, like I said, between 8 to 14 inches thick that were all snapped. But the weird thing is they were all stuck. They weren't like completely broken off. They're just brought down like this and like that. They're all crossed. A whole 2 acres or 3 acres of them. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was walking in the middle of this, like, okay, I'm stepping over them. And I'm like, what the hell did this? This can't be moose. And they were all bent over about 6 to 8 feet high in unison. Like if a moose was doing that, they'd be busted at the stumps, like at the ground, right? So about 6 to 8 feet up, they were all boom, like snapped and like this crisscrossed. And I got into the middle of this, like I call it an acreage. They were all down. They're like big birch or aspens, whatever they were, white bark and leaves on them. And I'm in the middle of this thing, and I'm like, this doesn't seem right. And I just got that weird feeling like I was being watched. And then I got this whiff of something that was just like freaking rotten. I'm like, what the hell is that? And then I look and I'm like, I'm in a trap. Like, it was a trap. I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I started getting a cold sweat, and I get goosebumps just talking about it.
I got him.
But yeah, so I just fucking, I jacked a shell of my 30-06, safety off or safety on. I just started walking out. I had to step over all these stupid freaking trees that were crisscrossed like this. And I'm just walking out. As soon as I got to the opening in the clear cut, I never took a break. I just went right to the landing, up the landing. I remember slamming my tailgate and jumped in the truck, and I took off, and I've never been back since. And I'm thinking I didn't even go hunting. I went home. It was Saturday, like noon. I was going to stay all weekend, right? I was just so shooken up that I just had to get the hell out of there. So I get back home. I told my wife, the girlfriend at the time, about this, and like, okay, what was it? I'm like, I don't know, but it was just something was eerie. I felt like something was watching me. I had this bad stench, and the whole thing was every tree was snapped about 6 to 8 feet up, and it was just so weird. And like I said, never been back since. My only explanation of it, or like thinking about it here, fucking almost 30 years later now, is that it had to be something that was big and powerful that could leverage on a fulcrum, like its own thigh or torso, and snap these things down. That's the only explanation. There's no tracks of a D6 or a tractor in there or anything. There was no snow in September. Like, it's nothing. Yeah. It's just freaky as shit. So I've never been back since, and will I go again there? I'd probably not. I got no reason to. But I knew it was something weird. They whatever it was, either made a trap. That's what my conclusion was. A trap for me, or a trap for a poor, unsuspecting deer to go through, or an elk or moose, and it grabs it, like to slow it down. Or it was a sign, a calling card to say, for me, I'm not supposed to be there. This is my territory. Get the F out of here. I'm trying to scare you away. It was one of those two scenarios. That's all, the only thing I can come up with.
Shitty,
But I know in my heart it was something like what we want to say, like a Sasquatch or something.
You know what it was. So I tell you right in, you know what it was.
Yeah. And I've never told many people because I may have tried over the years, but they just, oh yeah, sure, okay, Tony. Like, they don't believe you, right? It's like, whatever.
I don't even talk about this topic. I just don't. I don't even bring it up. I don't even put it on my social media.
No.
Well, you saw what happened when all I did was put a footprint on there.
I know. Oh yeah.
And then the idiots come out, and I got a weakness for idiots, so I just don't talk about it. You can't talk about it.
You can't talk. You can't talk about it. I know.
No, you either know or you don't.
Yeah, like I think even like you said, even if you had I don't know, a video of a carcass or whatever it was, people still wouldn't believe you.
You got a video of one bleeding out today, it won't matter.
It won't matter. It was all AI. They'll figure. Oh, it's AI.
Won't matter.
I
So that's
know.
what I said. After the digging that I've been doing, it wasn't my plan to do this. It just kind of,
Yeah.
years back when I was trying to teach everybody wolf hunting, how to hunt and shit, and people just on me online once I started getting more popular, and were like, "Come on, man, you got any Bigfoot stories?" I'm like, fucking up. I need to bring that up like I need a hole in the head, right? And then finally, you just
Yeah.
out of respect for my grandfather, I'm like, wait a minute. He
Yeah.
climbed a sheet metal tube full of bombs, and he died scared of all you for ridicule. Fuck
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. Right.
But here's another one on that lines of not talking to people. So Dave Brown, yeah,
Mhm.
I know how you pronounced his handle in HBC. I think it was
Yeah.
Aria. I would call him Aria.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. And you
Oh.
probably saw some
Yeah.
of
I
his.
know. Yeah. I did. Yeah. Yeah.
It was quality shit those guys hunted. He had a tight knit little group of murderers, and they were low profile. They never really posted anything online.
Yeah.
And they him and his group, they called it. But they would private message me on HBC. I guess he just said, "Oh yeah, you seem like one of our kind of people," blah blah blah. And he started showing pictures of their mule deer and the elk and stuff they were getting. I'm like, holy shit, they're murderers. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I'd already talked to that Dave a handful of times, way before somebody started a thread on HBC Sasquatch. And then, of course, I
Yeah.
get on there, and a bunch of guys were brave enough to speak, and then some douchebags got on there and started belittling him. So I'm like, well, I'm going to get the last word on here no matter what. I don't give a shit. And I did. And then that's when that Aria Dave private messaged me, and he goes, come on, man. Seriously? Right? And I said to him, I go, look, I don't give a flying shit if you believe it or not. I didn't ask for it, and nobody's going to change that fact. It's not possible. You can't change it. The thing's looking at
I
me.
know.
Right? So then about 3 years later, get this one. And I even said to him, you don't know anybody seen him? He goes, nope. None of your little elite little gang of murderers. Nobody. Nothing. Don't believe it. No. Fuck no. That was his attitude, right? But 3 years later, he phones me. Dude, you're not going to believe this. I go, what? He goes, well, my buddies, I don't want to say his name, but one of our buddies just says he had a face-to-face run-in with one of those damn things, and he won't talk to us anymore, and he sold all his hunting shit, and he's not going to the woods ever again.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
And I told him, I said, well, if you want to tell your buddy, get a hold of me. If you need somebody to, just to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he goes, nope, doesn't want to talk to you. Doesn't want to talk to anybody. He won't even talk to us anymore.
Yeah. It's a sensitive subject for a lot of people. They just, they got blinders on. It doesn't matter. Like when there's seasoned guys like yourself or me or all these other hunters out there, like we spend so much time in the woods. There's stuff that we see. Like people living in the cities and stuff and downtown bureaucrats and stuff, they don't see shit that we see out there, you know?
Well, they're busy putting tampon machines in the boys' bathroom.
They are. That's what they're doing, right? Yeah. So
How do you talk to that mind about anything?
no, you can't. You can't.
But
Yeah.
then again, who gives a shit? Like when you think about it, what relief would you get if? Well, I don't know. I shouldn't say that because I'm just angry. I think I explained if you saw the video the other day. I said, I come home, I'm a dead end road, and I know there's I don't give a shit, a teenage grizzly bear, which we know is the worst one,
Yeah.
on a kill just inside the back timber between me and Billy Smith's house.
Yeah.
And I don't tell him.
Yeah. You have to say something, right? For sure.
How much of a douche are you to not do that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I see an 8 to 10, 12-foot hairy human kind of fucking, I don't know what it is, staring at our window at night.
Mm.
Why is it the rest of the neighborhood get to be filled in on this truth? I don't get it. Well, I'm getting it, but that was like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And the weirder thing too is when you tell people, like it's almost as if there's a certain amount of population of the human species have a built-in block, because if you told me, all right, we don't know each other. You just told me I know your hunting background. I said, Steve, dude, listen, man, I just seen this, and you got goosebumps on your arms telling me you saw a 9-foot tall, hairy like dude staring at you in the timber.
Mm-hmm.
My initial reaction isn't going to be, there's no proof, there's no video, there's no video, there's no footprint, there's nothing.
Yeah, you're crazy.
If I didn't react to you telling me that way,
yeah,
be like, okay, as soon as you get done with your psychosis and you can focus again, coming back into the conversation, because we're not talking about proof. We're talking about what I just saw a half an hour ago, and I thought I'd inform you about it. Did you want to? Did you got any questions?
Want to know?
But the amount of people that don't even ask a question is so bizarre. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
Like if I told you
just
I
like,
saw
just like that.
won't even ask. Like if I told you, dude, I saw an 8-foot tall hairy fucking thing that looks like a dude, but it wasn't right there an hour ago.
Mm-hmm.
You were not going to go like this. Oh, crazy. Well, I've got 2 beer left. I'm going to the store. Need anything?
I know.
It should be 16 red flags, nothing but curiosity. Take me there. Run it by me one more time. Tell me what you saw again. They don't even do that. It's so weird.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's not a weird thing.
I know a guy. He's still alive. He's an older gentleman now, but I won't say his name on here. But he had an experience with one of these beasts in Squamish years ago hunting. He was glassing a slide, and he saw this thing. He thought it was a black bear on a slide. So he put up his binoculars, this and that, and he's like, "What the heck is that? What the fuck is that?" And he said, "It's not a blackberry." Anyways, he had a 9-power scope on his rifle because the binoculars weren't strong. They were like 8 power or something. So he puts it in the scope of his rifle and he cranks it up to 9. I think it was 9 or strongest scope of the day. And he says, "I was so scared because what I saw was this 2-legged creature sitting on his butt." And he says, "When I zoomed in the scope, I could see the dexterity of his fingers peeling berries and leaves off a branch and feeding it in his mouth. I could see the dexterity of his fingers." And eventually he never saw me. I was shaking, I was scared, he said. And he just got up and walked into the timber, into the big cedars.
Wow.
Never knew he was there.
And then
I shared my story, and that just gives me goosebumps too. Like he says, it just got up and walked away. Yeah.
So how did it affect him?
Not too much. He's an old school boy, pretty tough.
Still goes?
Tough old man. Yeah, he's too old to drive now, I think so.
Did he say don't tell anybody? Did he say like
he never did. No,
Could you tell if he spoke about it publicly or not, or like to friends or
probably to friends, as close friends, but never spoken publicly about it.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in Squamish, Pemberton, big time, man. Holy shit.
Well, I bet, yeah.
I know a guy in Goldbridge saw one through his rifle scope in his slide.
Yeah, see? Same thing.
Yeah. We get this way. You must know Rick Gander then.
Gander Taxidermy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know of him. I haven't used him for years. I used to go there when I lived on the coast, yeah.
Solid dude, right? Rick's a solid dude.
Yeah. And he was dad, Eric Gander, right? Eric?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I used to trap Rick's line in Pemberton.
Okay.
And then we'd always have the Pemberton Wildlife. We'd have a huge banquet, game dinner, and dance and shit, blah, blah, blah. And Rick would donate a day of sturgeon fishing on the Fraser, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then I'd never done that at the time. I'm like, I'm getting that. So me and a buddy, we got it, won the bid. But I've been friends with Rick anyway. We go down there, jump in his boat. We launched on the Fraser somewhere down there. I'm not familiar with it. Where's the Fraser cut the highways?
I guess Mission, kind of. Mission Abbotsford.
Yeah. Is it a boat ramp there?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And then we're out in the river, obviously in the ground zero upriver around there, right? And I said to Rick, I go, so you ever see a Sasquatch? You hear about him? And just went like this, nope. Right? And I'm like, okay. And we're fishing away. We got what? I think we caught over 30 sturgeon that day. It was wicked. But anyway, I go, so you never heard of him? You don't know anything seen him or anything else? Nope. Like, not even a half a bum hair of curiosity. I'm like, okay, whatever. Not to push it. Well, if the prick doesn't come ripping, I was living halfway up the Pemberton Meadows. The prick doesn't come racing in my driveway with a bucket of plaster Paris and wrote out instructions on how to take a footprint because one of his close friends and clients, same thing, was in Seashell, probably hunting goats. And he saw this thing walk across the slide in front of him and his 2 buddies.
Oh, yeah, really? See? Yeah.
And then Rick comes over to my place, and I'm like, really, you dick? Like, chocolate? I think I said to him that I saw one on the boat, too, and he just, like, nothing. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then he comes ripping my house because his other buddy saw one. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, funny, eh?
Yeah, no, you're getting a lot of stories in for sure. A lot of feedback with your post and putting it out there. So
Over 30,000 emails.
I know. I'd like to find out, maybe you know, but there was one story of a native guy in Karamias. Told you a story or recounted a story about Sasquatch. He was walking to his girlfriend's house, remember?
Yep.
Sneaking in the back door or the window. What year was that? Because if it
Oh,
was
wait. Which,
97, 98.
which guy was that? Which one was that when he's walking down a long paved road?
No, he's lived on the native reserve, I believe, in Karamias or Olala or something like that.
Oh, did he share
Uh,
photos?
no photos, but you told us, or he told the story. You're reading his email, whatever it was, and it was about he sneaking to see his girlfriend at the time and going down the trail. That's when he met the beast a couple times, I think it was. But if correlation though wise, because it's only a stone's throw away from Mount Baldy. That's what I'm trying to
Oh,
say. So
right.
it could be if it's the same year, same period. Who knows? Same one. I don't know. But
I could try to see if I could find it, but holy shit, it's hard, man. Holy
yeah,
shit.
I see a lot of emails. Yeah.
But it might have been the same guy because I had another native guy who stands out in my memory. And he was at Spences Bridge logging.
Yeah.
You know that access road across the river?
No, no.
We know Spences. You know where the
Yeah.
pub is?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Right? Straight across
Yeah.
the river from there. That access road that goes up on the hills there towards
Yeah.
Lytton. Or towards, I guess as the crow flies, is towards Lillooet, right?
Ashcroft. Okay. Yeah.
Off
Lillooet, yeah.
branch, I guess, if you went straight. But
Yeah.
anyways, he's logging up in there somewhere. And it was at night shift and running his machine. And he said, and they were having some mechanical problems with the damn machine. It crapped out. Couldn't get it going. He's like, ah, shit. And he's all by himself. And the crew shift change was either in the middle of the night or next morning in the dark. Anyway, just because I know exactly kind of where he was and the flavor of what he experienced, just really, I don't know why. I always remember that one. This one. He's
Yeah.
sitting there in the machine. And all of a sudden, that, the plate that covers the motor and everything, all of a sudden he hears the plate get compacted down like something real heavy just climbed on his machine.
Wow.
Could you imagine being in a fucked up new cup lock by yourself up in those mountains at 2 in the morning?
No.
And you're just sitting in there like a can of sardines waiting for somebody to come? So get this one. But he had electricity, just wouldn't run. So he flicks on the frickin' lights that lights up the machine, right? And this 8-foot tall, hairy thing bails off of his machine and runs up through the fresh fallen block like a gazelle, disappears into the timber.
So it never knew he was in the cab.
I probably did. Just thought he was going to sneak up and look in the window at him like they do all the time, right?
Oh my God, crazy, eh?
Can you imagine having to sit there all night long after that?
No thanks. No thanks.
Yeah, the same guy emailed me. He emailed me 3 different times. That same guy emailed me, but I don't think it's the same guy you were talking about because I think this episode was somewhere around Kamloops, and he was walking down a road to or from
Yeah.
his girlfriend's, and one was following him down the road. But I think
Yeah.
the one you're talking about left me pictures, and I probably didn't include them because I didn't felt I needed to. Because all it was a gravel road from Google Earth with a couple houses spread out the timber, and he showed me the route between the.
That's right. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, I did show the pictures.
No, yeah, I guess. No, I don't think you showed the pictures, but he explained it. That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he sent the pictures of him going through. So I could probably find that.
Yeah. Just if it's the same year, because mine was 1997.
Yeah,
So,
but the reality is, you probably figured it out. They're all over the place, man.
yeah, for sure.
They're everywhere. So I mean,
Yeah. Stories.
places that I don't go either.
Mhm.
No, that's kind of, in a way, for me, it's kind of silly because they're everywhere I go anyway. I got them right down the road from the house here.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
So was that the only time you had something weird happen?
It was, yeah, for me. Yeah, I had an old hunting buddy of mine. His name was Rob. He actually had an experience he told me about. That was probably in the 90s as well in the Tulameen area. I remember him telling me he got stuck one time with his truck. He was hunting, and something in the bush was beating the trees, knocking on the trees and stuff like this, and yelling at him in a language of some sort. And he just basically got his truck unstuck and took off and never been back. He says it was so scary. It wasn't a bear, it wasn't a moose. It was just something yelling at him and knocking on the trees. Yeah.
The old man ever talk about it?
No, no, my dad, no. He yeah. If he saw one, I think I know what he would do to it. So,
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah,
Or try to, eh?
Oh yeah, dry. Yeah, for sure.
God.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
out of my buddies up north, like it's funny where I described where I was in camp a lot north of the north side of the highway. Never had an inkling. I never had any pressure from any patch of timber or mountainside. I never had any hesitation anywhere,
Yeah.
except for Steamboat. So Steamboat is
Mm-hmm.
halfway from Fort Nelson to the rock
Yep.
cut, right? You know Steamboat?
Yeah. Steamboat Mountain. Yep.
Yeah, with the salt shed on the left and the top there.
Yeah.
Well, we came out there. We put in at Cleto Creek one time and came out there from the north side of the highway, and definitely they're in there, 100%. They're a
No
cache.
way.
Oh yeah, there's a cache. We were about 2 days north into that muskeg frickin' armpit. We're just riding around in July, busting open all the old original camps and shit and see what was left, right? Three of us. And
Yeah.
there's a cache there about 14 feet up, probably about a 4.5 foot overhang all the way around. And
Yeah.
I don't think that one had sheet metal at the bottoms, whatever. And they had those Rubbermaids, 2 or 3 Rubbermaids on top. So we pack them on top of horse easy, right? 2 or 3 Rubbermaids, which would hold your stove, spices,
Sure.
cutlery, and all the dog shit. Full size wall tent was up there, wrapped up. The wall tent was about 150 yards from the cache on the side of the river when we rode up without a tooth mark in.
Yeah.
Without a tooth mark, and everything was taken off the top of that cache. Everything. Just a freaking shredded mess. And I'm sitting there, I was already really aware of what's going on. I'm sitting there going, huh. So these 2 inbreds were originally from Fort Nelson. And I say that nicely. They're like, so, what do you think did this? I don't fucking know. Right?
Wolverine.
Yeah, that's about the only grunt you get out of those 2 retards. And I go, and nobody's saying shit. They just go, we're just tying up and unpacking our shit and going to clean up the mess, right? And I go, so what do you think? What do you think did this? How do you think that wall tent got 150 yards from here without a tooth mark in it? And they both went, fucking Wolverine. I go, so let me get this straight. So the Wolverine went up these poles, pinched the logs, and went like this for 4.5 feet. Got up top, and he turned green like the Hulk, and you winged that wall tent over there, huh? They don't fucking know, and that's it. They don't want to talk about it. Then some other friend of mine, another guy I know who was the working outfitter for Stone Mountain after Dave sold it for an American. Him and another buddy went Fort Nelson. They went in at the Racing River. Not the racing. Not the racing before then. Why is my brain?
The Bessa?
No, right by the gas stop, past Fort Nelson left.
Oh,
Tetsa.
Passport. Tetsa. Yeah.
So
Tetsa
we'd always put in just north of the gas stop to head to those camps. And that's the way to Shody, too, if you want to go to Shody from there.
Yeah.
So we got a camp out there called Cabin Creek, and it's right on the border of Larry Warren's or whoever owns it now. It's Shody River Outfitters, right? So just a few years ago, they ride out there. And if you're sitting where they are sitting, Shody Lakes is straight southwest, probably, I don't know, 5 miles, 6 miles, even 7. And they woke up to the trees getting the shit beat out of them.
Yeah, see?
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Yeah. And another buddy of mine who lives in Toad River grew up there. They're driving along Muncho Lake. And he goes, yeah, well, actually, we're going to the hot springs again, Liard. And we're coming back in the dark. And I thought it was a moose that ran by us in front of the car. Just saw its legs, but the kneecaps are bending the wrong way.
Yeah. You can't make that up.
Yeah. So what does your boys think?
They don't talk about it too much. You know, they're like, okay, Dad, whatever. Like they're okay.
Well,
they don't disbelieve or they don't believe it. It's not even brought up.
I guess it's kind of good in a way, sort of, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't phase them. Like, don't even want to talk about it or whatever. It's okay, whatever, no big deal.
Yeah. Right.
But if it ever happens to one of them or it happens to somebody, then all of a sudden it's 100% real, right? It's just
Well, I always say I don't give a shit if anybody believes or not. But then you wouldn't believe how many people I talked to that it's ruined them. It's ruined them.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they've had some scary experiences, obviously, right?
Yeah, I think like just going through life, probably laughing and not even giving any attention. All of a sudden, there it is in your face.
Yeah.
So I think there's another side to it. I guess maybe is if at least, but just do my part, tell the truth. I told you. There you go. I gave you all I know. do it the way you want, take it with it. I don't give a shit. At least I told you.
Just tell the truth. Yeah,
And
exactly.
then hopefully maybe if it happens to some of these people, then it doesn't fully destroy their passion for the outdoors, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's such a theft. Wouldn't you imagine if one of your boys or
Hmm.
you love this as much as we do, and all of a sudden it just gets stolen from you,
Yeah, 100%.
all because nobody informed you of nothing.
I know.
Lying sons of bitches, right?
I've got one employee at work, and I'll actually maybe I'll talk to him and see if he wants to reach out to you. But he's had an experience on the way on the highway from Port Alberni to Tofino.
No, God, him and
Yeah.
another 500 others.
Oh, really?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, big time. It's
Oh,
right here.
hotspot, eh?
Yeah, my backyard, for real.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah, that would be. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just past Port Alberni on the right.
Oh, no way. Okay, so he swears he saw one crossing the road there, the highway.
100% he did. Had a taxi driver had a fare right here and had one. They had one in front of the taxi right over here in front of my place where it hits that highway.
Oh, no way. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had some
Yeah.
beaten on the roof of the house here a couple years ago.
Shit. Really? Eh?
Yeah, 16 feet up.
Oh, wow.
Right? Fuck. It's like,
Oh,
why? Whatever, as long as you don't hurt me, I don't care. So anyway,
yeah, yeah.
you wrote a book.
I wrote a book. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's
That's freaking awesome.
yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It's gotten a lot of good reviews. It's it's in the Friesen bestseller list. It's selling a lot of them. I'm getting a lot of great testimonials on my website,
Sweet.
which are great. So yeah, it's you can't get them from home. You can get it at TonyDebonis.com. It's all about hunting. The great thing about it is they're short stories of all my of growing up hunting with my dad. So my first hunt was 1979 when I was 7 years old, and ever since I was basically 10 years old, I was capturing all my stories. I love writing, and after every hunt, I would come home and I'd write my journal. I'd write my stories. I'd
No
write the
way.
temperature. My temperature was -5. We woke up to snow. Me and Dad were cold in the camper last night. I've got all these stories and just
What?
chicken scratch. Yeah, and then I think 2 winters ago or last winter, I got together. Well, just looking at all my diaries, I'm like, I've got a book here. Like, I just got to put it together, right? So then I spent the time putting it together. But I've always enjoyed writing, and I've even in high school or like elementary school, junior high, and Langley Secondary School where I went. I took creative writing and stuff, and I just loved writing. And my English teacher at the time, Mr. Hollaboff, I'll never forget his name. He was a great teacher. He always looked forward to my stories because a lot of them were hunting related. I think I even wrote one about Sasquatches back then, just the mythical Sasquatch of back in the day. I still got them actually, and yeah, I put a book together, and the short stories go from 1977 basically to 2019, in between, and everything in between.
No
So
shit, you wrote your freaking stories when you were a kid. That's gold.
yeah, yeah, no, I've got all the diaries, all journals still. Some people have said I should actually copy and paste those original ones in my next book if I do another book, right? Just to show that look at the little kid, like 8 year old or 10 year old writing or whatever. But we'll see, we'll see. But no,
Yeah, connections getting broken up. But
lots of stories, that's for sure. Good stories. Hunting with my dad, hunting with my family and friends. Spent a lot of time in the bush with everybody, and
that's all.
well, I'm grateful for being able to get out there with my friends and family, and then raising my sons, and I mean that's special. Just getting out with them all the time now. But yeah, it's my happy place,
Do the
Steve.
boys
Just
still hunt lots?
yeah, they come out every year with me. Yeah, you bet. Yeah, I want to get one of my sons. He
Oh,
wants to get
good.
into sheep hunting this year. Um, Actually, he was on me when I got my
Uh-oh.
California ram in the Fraser, but hunting a ram on the Fraser is a lot different than going for stones. So we might be going for stones this
Yeah, it is.
summer. We'll see. But yeah, a lot of good
Nice.
stories. A lot of good stories of the early days. We flipped the beaver float plane one year in 2007 in your backyard, Nootka Island. Almost
What?
died. Yeah,
Where?
Nootka Island.
Where at?
Nootka
No way.
crawfish. Yeah, crawfish lake on Nootka Island, 2007. So that was one of the probably the main story of the book. It's called the Upside Down Beaver. Um, that was quite the story. My wife, she thought she was a widow because yeah, we had three little boys. If I was gone that year in 2007, my boys wouldn't know who their dad was right now. So
Holy shit.
yeah, we were lucky we
What the hell?
survived.
How'd that happen?
Well, it was typical West Coast weather. I mean, you're used to it. Rain, rain, rain. And so we got a beaver float plane. We had access to a beaver float plane. So we decided to fly from Langley to Nootka Island. Me and my nephew, we picked a lake there, and we, big bears, big island bears, right? Nootka Island. It's never hunted this and that. So we did some research back in the day of 2007, and we loaded up the beaver float plane for a week of supplies, and we stuffed in the back of the plane two Honda 70 4-stroke machines, just so once we get on the lake, we can access the logging roads there, because you got to get
Yep.
around, right? So we flew there, unloaded, said goodbye to our pilot, and then we hunted for a week. I think I got a bear that was squared about 6'11" or 7 feet almost, and we had our scheduled time to leave. We were going to leave whatever day it was, May 6th or May 7th, whatever day it was. And then the rain came in, and just rain, 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 typical.
Yeah.
And as you know, with bush flying, you can't fly in the rain, like when it's socked right in. And so we're waiting for the pilot to come in. We can actually hear him on the West Coast coming in. Like we'd hear the piston beaver, like, oh shit, is he going to go for it? You can hear him just right there, but it would be a sucker hole if he tried to come into the lake and land. So you just hear him take off again, like just going back home to Victoria or wherever he was going with the plane. So we had to spend a few extra days there. We were getting low on food because we were timed out. We only allowed for 5 or 7 days. I forget how long it was. And then all of a sudden, so we'd pack up camp, and okay, today's the day he's gonna make it. And all of a sudden, it just rained all day. And okay, we're setting up the tent again. We're gonna stay another night. And then it was May 7th. It was that was the day, the fateful day that we were ready for the plane. And all of a sudden, it was like 5 or 6 o'clock at night. I guess we're staying in one more night. All of a sudden, here he comes like a hot rod right in, because he just had a little opening of blue sky, and he came right into Crawfish Lake, touched down, taxied up. We went and loaded the two dirt bikes and stuffed them into the back of the plane. And you know how what it's like loading a float plane. So we're lifting the two heavy machines. We were probably 200 pounds each into the back of the plane. All our gear, my black bear, and all that stuff. And my nephew asked him, and he goes, because we had amphibian floats. He goes, "Hey, do you want to pump the floats?" He goes, "Oh no, they should be good." I'm like, "Okay." And that was a golden rule, because we did lots of flying over the years with other planes, and we'd always pump the floats. And no, pilot said, "No, they should be good." Okay, you're the pilot. So my nephew managed to make a phone call out with a shitty satellite phone of the day. It was a Global Star Iridium or something. He made a
Shitty.
call. Yeah, they were shit, just shit back
Yeah.
then. And he made a call out to Dad, say, "Hey, we're just about to take off." He goes, "Okay, we'll see you in 2.5 hours, whatever." Okay. So we're taxiing out. So my nephew pushed out the float plane. He had his hip waders on. They jumped on the floats and jumped in the front seat. I'm in the back seat putting the headsets on. He's getting his headset on, put your seatbelts on and stuff. We start taxiing out in the middle of the lake, and I'm noticing the floats like going underwater, and like the waves are coming right over the floats. I'm like, that's not good. But before I could say anything, he turned the nose into the wind and hit the throttle. And Steve, as soon as he hit that throttle, we launched back. Like the nose came up real quick, but then half a second later, it was propeller under full power going into the water, like full power. And the sound of that propeller hitting the water was good. And yeah, talk about like seeing water come over the windshield and through the fire. Then it was coming through the firewall. Like it's not waterproof. Water was coming through the firewall and the doors. We're upside down, and the
Oh.
cab was instantly upside down. Instantly upside down. So when we're upside down, hanging there, and it's every man for themselves. It's just like they say on WestJet flights and whatever. It's like, put your oxygen mask on before you help the person next to you, and it's true. You've got to save yourself first. So, and if you panic, you die. If you
Yeah.
panic, you die. So we're upside down, every man for himself. So my first thing is, okay, what do you got to do first? First thing is take off your headset. Okay. And then all of a sudden, the water's all of a sudden right up to me already. And took a breath, unclipped my seatbelt. Poof! Now I'm on the roof of the plane, the ceiling of the plane, in the water, underwater, bubbles. And okay,
Shit.
now you gotta find the door. And you've probably flown in the back seat of a Super Cub or a Beaver many times, but the door handle's back here. It's just so awkward on a Beaver, de Havilland Beaver. So I had to find. Luckily, I knew where the door handle was. Popped the door open. It wasn't underwater yet. Flew it open, poked myself out, and pulled my inflatable life vest. which we were always taught to wear, which is great because I've flown with a lot of bush pilots up north, and we take off from water onto water, and not once would they even offer you a life jacket, which is ridiculous. No, it's ridiculous. Just think about it. You're taking off from water and you're landing on water. You should have a life vest. So luckily, we always wore a self-inflating one. Poof! I come out to the surface, treading water. Stuff's coming out of my door of the plane. My nephew, he's out there floating. Pilot, no sign of the pilot yet. And I'm looking at my nephew Thomas. You okay? Yeah. And he's kind of struggling. He's got his thing inflated, but he's kind of struggling. Stuff coming out my door. I go back in to look for the pilot. I'm like, he still didn't come out. And all of a sudden, he came out my nephew's door, the passenger door, choking on aviation fuel and water, just choking. He lost his glasses. And he's like, "Oh my God, you okay?" I'm hanging onto the floats now. And you okay? And he goes, "Oh, I got all disoriented." He said, "I freaking couldn't get my seatbelt off. My door, the pressure was keeping the door closed." So he came out over the sticks out to the passenger door. He's lucky to be alive. Anyways, my nephew Steve, he was going under and coming up. I'm like, "What the hell's going on?" And he went under, and he was down there for the longest time, probably I don't know, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. I start swimming out towards him, and he came bursting up. He goes, "I had my fucking hip waders on."
Oh
Yeah,
God.
the hip waders had filled with water and taken it
Yeah.
down. So even though he had his self-inflating vest filled up, it was so he had to hold his breath, wiggle the waders off as he's going to the bottom of the lake.
And
So
you
yeah,
got
we
him.
lost. Oh, he came up. Then he
Good
was fine.
God.
Yeah, so we all kind of held onto the float. So the plane didn't sink. Fortunately, it sunk up to the floats, right? So we're hanging on the floats. I'm grabbing all the gear that's floating by the plane that we could, that I could grab. We're tying it up. I grabbed my backpack. I managed to grab my BlackBerry phone and my cell phone, my sap phone that was in the seat. They're totally wet. I stuffed in my backpack. Everything was waterlogged. My dad's Parker Hale 300 Magnum popped out with the big hard case and was floating. So I opened that up, threw it on my shoulder, threw the case in the lake.
Lucky.
There's still a whole bunch of shit in the bottom of that lake that, of course, we couldn't recover. Binoculars or whatever the hell's in down there, fly rods, and then we jump onto the float. So we're sitting in the middle of the lake, just fucking freezing. Like, holy shit, we're alive. We're alive. What are we gonna do now? We're in the middle of the lake, and we're
How
like,
far from shore?
oh, it was right in the middle of the lake, so probably I don't know, 300, 400 yards.
Oh.
I guess maybe I like felt that. So there's a couple paddles on the floats, one on each float. I'm like, hey, let's see if we can move this plane. So we grabbed the oars, they're just wooden oars. And me and my nephew started freaking paddling. We're like, are we moving? Checking the bubbles. Yeah, we are. Like, Steve, it must have taken an hour to get to shore, Steve. Like, we're
Wait.
paddling the big beaver float plane towards the shore where we left our fire going, thankfully. It's a big cedar forest, and it was on the beach. It was fine. Yeah, soaking wet. So it kept us warm. The paddling kept us warm, which is great. But the shitty thing is the propeller or the cab of the roof of the plane hit the shore, hit the bottom of the lake. So we were still like 100 meters from the shore. So we had to get back in the lake and swim to shore, which was the shitty thing. It's like the last thing you want to do is go back into the lake that almost killed you, right? So anyways, we ended up swimming back to shore and got the fire going and freaking drying up all our clothes. We stripped down and dried up by the fire, got the fire going good. And the shitty thing was we were fine, but our families weren't fine because we made that call out. They were expecting us. They were making that. They were expecting us 2 hours later, right?
Yeah, that's not
So,
good.
so the shitty thing is that shitty and not so shitty, but the worry. So my brother-in-law, my nephew's father, was pacing back and forth, like, where the hell are they? Trying all three cell phones, the pilot and my cell phone and my nephew's cell phone. No answer. They all went to voicemail. Like, what the hell? How would they all go to voicemail? So then my sister gets on the phone and she called my wife 3 times that night. Have you heard from Tony? No, why? Or just no, not yet. Okay, let us know if let me know if you do. Click. An hour later, have you heard from Tony? No, not yet. Okay, well, I'm just wondering. So let me know if you hear from him. Finally, at like I think 11 o'clock at night, she called and says, Kim, have you heard from Tony? It's like, no. What's up? Well, I don't know how to say this, but they made a call out when they were taking off, and they haven't landed and
Damn.
we tried all their cell phones. We've tried air traffic control to see if they're anywhere they can find the plane, and they're nowhere to be found. And we checked the hotels to see if they got bad weather and this and that. And of course, then she was distraught. She thought she was a widow with 3 kids.
No
And
doubt.
yeah, so and that was the shitty thing is we're fine. We're cowboys. We're by the fire. We're joking around. Blah blah blah. Whatever. You know. And my nephew and I kind of made a bet. We're like, well, how long is it going to take for search and rescue to find us? And I think we both said, well, I picked like 9 a.m. and he's like, probably by noon the next day.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so we're sleeping by the fire, Steve, and I think we made 2 fires just to keep us warm because we had no jackets. Like we just had what we were wearing. We had nothing. So
Shit.
we're sleeping by the fire in the sand on the beach of Crawfish Lake, and then I think about 1 o'clock in the morning, we hear this whoop 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 whoop, and over the mountain on Crawfish Lake, a huge. It looked like a spaceship. All these lights shining up the cedar forest and the cut blocks, and then this big spotlight just went. The beaver float plane upside down in the middle of the lake is shone right on it, and then
No
of course
shit.
it's our rescuer. So we get out by the fire. We're like, "Hey, we're over here. We're over here." Meanwhile, they can see us on thermal imaging, like 3 bodies in a hot fire, right on the thermal
Yeah.
cameras. So,
Holy
anyways,
shit. Surreal.
yeah. So it was a Cormorant helicopter from Comox Air Force Base.
Yep.
They made just a huge, beautiful bird that came over the fucking night sky there to pluck us out of there. So the Cormorant helicopter was actually too big for the beach. It tried to land there, but it was not enough shore because the trees were right there. So they had the youngest or the rookie search and rescue guy rappel down, and they always send the rookie first because he told us that I guess they get a static shock when they land. That sometimes they'll knock you out, so they always send the rookie first. I guess the whirring of the prop and grounding. So he ran up to us. Hey, any casualties or any injuries? And we're like, no. Did you bring coffee and donuts? You know, just joking around. Like, no, we're good. And right away, my nephew asked him, hey, can you get a word out to our families that we're okay? And the commander on the headset just said, affirmative, already done, whatever. So
Wow.
yeah, scary experience. Yeah,
Holy shit.
yeah. And then it was one of the most beautiful flights I've ever had in a helicopter that night because flying out of Crawfish Lake with that bird, because we had to hike the log road to jump in it. But when we got up and we flew right over Strathcona Provincial Park at night, it was beautiful in the moonlight and the mountains and some snow glaciers, whatever's up there. It was gorgeous. And then we had a first class meal because we were famished. We were out of food for 2 or 3 days, and the pilot actually says those guys look hungry. And of course, on the Cormorant helicopter, we found out later they pick up deli food every day, and they gave us sandwiches for the flight. It was great. And once we got to the Air Force, once we got to the Air Force Base, we called our loved ones just to say we're okay, and that was good, so they can go to sleep. It was like probably 2:30 in the morning.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
your poor wife.
yeah, poor wife, yeah, for sure. And then I heard them. We're in the Comox, the hangar or whatever you want to call it, and they're behind the desks. They're all talking. The commander goes, "What should we do with these guys?" And I'm like, "Excuse me." Well, what's going on? We're like, well, we don't know what to do with you guys because usually it's a recovery mission. You're either going to the morgue or the hospital. But you guys are fine. I said, can you just bring us to a hotel? So,
Can I
so
borrow
yeah. So the rookie just he dropped us all, the 3 of us, off at a hotel somewhere in Comox. First time in Comox, and we got into the hotel late, checked in. I think we don't sleep anyways. My nephew and I, we got that curse, so I think we were up at 8 in the morning or 7 in the morning,
with
and
no clothes?
yeah, well, yeah, just we drive just with our clothes on, and then yeah, we're like, well, let's go. We grabbed we each had our backpacks, and that's all we had. And I had my dad's Parker Hale 30-06 or 300 Magnum. I threw it over my shoulder. We're walking to Comox. Let's go find Tim Hortons. And we'd never been to we never been to Comox before. And we're just walking
Rifles
through.
flying over your back.
Yeah, we're walking through Comox, and nobody said a thing. I got a rifle in my back. Probably couldn't get away with that today. I mean, this was 2007, so
Yeah.
a little bit different maybe, but yeah. And of course I couldn't go in with the rifle. I said, I'll wait here with the backpack. So I just waited on the lawn there by the drive-through with the 300 Magnum and two
Oh
two
my
backpacks. And
god.
those 2 guys came out with coffee and bagels and donuts, and we had breakfast there, and then we just we arranged for a ride. A ride came to pick us up and take us home back to the mainland.
So,
Yeah,
you got to ride down to the ferry, went across, and
yeah. So
crazy.
yeah, got home.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So what happened to
Yeah.
the plane?
What's that?
Did they recover the plane?
They recovered the plane. Yeah, they actually they flipped it over. Yeah, they flipped it over. I'll actually show you a picture of it here. You can see that.
What?
Yeah, they sent a crew over there, and then
So
what they did was they just tied ropes to it. I don't have the picture of the guys here. It's in my photo album, but they had 7 or 8 guys flip it back onto its floats. They
yeah,
pumped the floats. They took the spark plugs out, um, dried off the engine there, whatever they had to do, and then
yeah.
some lucky guy on the recovery team had to fly it back with no
What?
gauges, or fly it back with no gauges. Yeah.
It's flashed up.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just
What about the
took the water.
propeller?
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, it wasn't bent or yeah, it wasn't bent at all or whatever. So they got all the water out of it and put new gas in it. And the only thing he never had was he never had working gauges that were full of water. But yeah,
Holy shit!
yeah, that's
Those
the
are pretty
story
complete,
for
eh?
yeah. So that's the story. That's chapter 12 in my book. The Upside Down Beaver is called.
That's
The
quite the
one
story,
that
man.
yeah, that's the one that almost took my life. So
Lucky it wasn't on the landing.
that's what I tell everybody too, because with that water, what happened was, Steve, is you probably know this, is water got in the floats.
Yeah, yeah.
And just like an example here, just like a water bottle. So just look at that if you can see that.
Oh yeah,
So as soon as you take off, all the water displaces and goes back. But as
yeah.
soon as you have that momentum, it goes this way. What
Down
happens?
you go.
You're done. You're just boom. That's what happens. You're in a fulcrum like that,
I
and
don't
that's
think
what
I've ever
caused it.
gone. I don't think I've ever gone on a float plane without the pilot pumping them out ever.
Exactly right. So 9 times out of 10, it comes down to pilot error.
Ah, poor bastard. Oh well, at least nobody died. Holy shit! Because
Yeah. So that's yeah.
everybody dies in float planes, or not float planes, but it's like the outfitting world.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not scared of flying, but when I was up north, if I had a choice, no, I'll ride in. All right, because
I know.
you know,
Yeah.
in a world, it's only a matter of time, right?
Oh, I know. Yeah, look at what happened to what is it, Clay or Cam Lancaster? I forget which brother it was, but one of the brothers passed away in a Super Cub a few years ago, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
lots, almost. Yeah, I remember one time out of Mayo in the Yukon, the pilot that flew us in a ding dongs outfit. He he went. He was flying somewhere, had a whole bunch of lumber strapped in the plane. One of the straps broke, shifted the load.
No way.
See ya. Yep.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah.
And another time at Stone Mountain, Dave, we were flying around or flying in a camp, just flew me in. He left and the motor freaking seized up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he glided down loud on the Alaska Highway.
Oh boy, that's pretty
Because we were
lucky.
doing, yeah, 'cause sometimes we do flights like there's a couple strips on the way to Fort Nelson. We do flights straight up there and back
Yeah.
with the hunters instead of from the ranch, you know. And he was
Yeah.
lucky enough, man, because we're flying behind that Stone Mountain range all the way across Toad River to get to the ranch, right? If he's going that way, we would have been titsed. But
That's what
oh,
happened to
yep.
that's what happened to the legend Gary Powell. You've probably heard of him. That's
Yeah,
Barry Tompkins' father-in-law.
yeah,
Yeah, he crashed. He lost engine power or whatever, or it stalled it, something like that.
fuck, they all
So,
do, man.
and I know. Yeah,
I heck,
there's
you
an
know where the
old
rock cut
pilot.
is? What's
No,
up?
which what?
You know the rock cut? That
Yeah,
song there? Well,
yeah.
just past the rock cut, you start going down is the first drain to the right. One day, enough to do. I went hiking up into that drain. I'm looking up in the slope. What the hell's that? Put a spot scope on it. Oh, it's a plane
No
right
way.
there. All
Right there.
mangled up in the rock slide.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah, I took the numbers off it too, but I guess it was already dealt with. I don't know,
Oh,
whatever.
what's
Yeah, it's already been done. But you never know, right?
yeah, exactly right.
God, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a story about the upside down beaver. So that's yeah, chapter 12 in the book.
That's an attention-getting title.
It is. Yeah, it wasn't planned that way, but it makes sense. It works.
So, how long did it take you to write the book?
It took me probably, I want to say 4 or 5 months to just massage it and edit it.
Oh,
Get
nice.
it all ready to go. Yeah, and I timed it for the launch for the for Christmas, right before Christmas.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was ready before that, so just by about a month, I think the end of October it was ready. So it was a good stocking stuffer for a lot of hunters and sweethearts that bought their hubbies a book to read. So
Right. So you get it. So the only place you can order is on your website.
yeah, if you go to my website, tonydebonis.com, it's I mean you can Amazon, Chapters, Indigo. There you can it's available in over 50,000 stores.
Oh, okay. So you're on Amazon too. Okay,
Oh,
good.
it's on Amazon. Yeah, so most of the sales, the easiest way, honestly, is Amazon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's where
you
my
can get. Yeah, they actually stock them, and yeah, I think you get it in 2 days. I think.
yeah. So is that where you got yours printed for your own copies?
No, my own copies, freeze and press.
Oh yeah, I'll have to talk about that later because I got another third book I got coming out here pretty quick.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
I'm
was
just
pretty happy with freeze and press. They did a good job. They helped me through the process. So
oh good. All right,
yeah,
well I'll put a link to that in the video descriptions. I'm gonna throw this video out on 3 of my YouTube channels.
yeah, that'd be wonderful. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and then I'll make a short here and throw it down on Instagram too.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Steve. Yeah, that'd be great.
Get it up there. It'd be interesting. Yeah, that's pretty exciting. You obviously we could talk for about 6 years, right?
What's that?
So we can obviously talk for about 6 years, right?
Oh, we could for sure. Yeah,
I think we
yeah.
know
We
how
got.
long we've been sitting here. I've shunned
Oh, we got.
about.
No, we got
Huh?
stories. So when you're on the same page and the same level, you can talk forever, right?
Oh yeah. How much? I don't even know how long we've been sitting here.
I don't know. Probably
An hour and a half.
hour and a half. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. As long as it's not past. Yeah,
Yeah.
I screwed up yesterday. I'll admit it. I went fishing, forgot to let the chickens out, and forgot to feed the horses.
Did you really? Oh shit.
I'm like, oops. Well, been all by myself here, getting picked on by all these damn animals and shit, and I'm tired of it. Shit to do. It was the first time ever in my life, too, right? I'm like, I get home. How come there's no chickens? Oh shit, I didn't let them out for it.
So what do they do with the eggs? Do they actually go and eat the eggs when you do that?
Oh no, they got their food in there.
So they won't even bother with the eggs then? No?
Chickens?
No, I thought sometimes like because we used to raise them on a hobby farm, sometimes if you didn't let them out, they just cannibalize the eggs. At least ours did.
Oh, we got a big feeder in there with them.
Oh yeah? Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, they're eating in there. And then with all the nasty ones, we'll throw the eggs in the ground out there and lead them. But we haven't had any of them hammer on the eggs in the nest yet.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah,
Yeah, they're fine. They had water in there too. It's just I
yeah.
think that water. I didn't really look at the water inside. I already felt bad enough as it was. And of course, the horses. You can read the looks in their faces right there. Like as I'm driving to the drive, and they're both standing there with the fence like this. Yeah, mother.
Well,
What?
horses, as you know, they're like big dogs, right? They're just big dogs.
They're fine. They're all right. Shit, it's
Yeah.
fasting's supposed to be good for you anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
But
No, it's
anyway,
all good.
yeah. So you guys ever go fishing early?
I used to go do a lot of fishing, but not anymore. Yeah. I don't know. I
No.
don't have the patience. I don't have the patience for it. Like you probably go to hot spots where you're getting bites of steelhead and stuff. But if I don't get a nibble on a lake in, gosh, 20 minutes or 15 minutes, I'm done.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
I got friends. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, well, I was thinking if you guys want, I don't know if you're into it or not, but if you guys are into it, you guys grab your sons and come jump in the boat summer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And go for what? What do you fish for?
load up and
Salmon?
salmon off it.
Oh yeah. Nice.
If you want, let's chuck some
Yeah.
gas,
Okay.
take you out, and then we can tell. I can tell you all the nasty stories.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah.
It'll be pretty
Oh,
entertaining day for sure. Because it's
so
those
where
stories. Go ahead.
so where's home for you then? Port Alberni or no?
Yeah, we're just outside Pearl Burning now, but I've always had a guide boat in Banfield,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and it's all
You're not.
paved all the way out there now too.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's covered.
You're,
Yeah.
you're an island. You're an island boy. Get
Ugh, God.
Yeah.
It's not
My son took a Roosevelt out there a couple years ago in what's that town in the north part?
north
Just north of what's that?
Holberg, Pearl,
No,
Pearl,
just north of Gold River on the right on the east side. The town.
Tassus,
Ta- Tassus. I don't know. There's like a general store. I forget the name now.
probably Tassus.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But he took a 6x5 Rosie last year, 2 years ago.
Oh, lucky bastard.
Yeah, it's hard to get that draw, but it was the only bull that we saw. So like, okay, wasn't a monster, but let's just take it because at least we got one. So
Oh man, I've been trying for that draw all my life. It's like I'm not gonna.
yeah,
If I hit like 80 years old, I'm just gonna go shoot one. Put
yeah,
me in care. Let me have the mount in my cell though.
Yeah. A buddy of mine got him and his dad both got the draws for seashell last October in the bow zone, and they both got a 6.0 on some
Yeah, there's a
private
whole
land.
pile of them running around there.
Yeah, so they got permission from someone's private land, and he said it was hard, but they did it. They're pretty
Nice.
spooky.
Yeah.
They were spooky, and he always set up in the blind, like in the wrong spot. Like you have to be in bow range, right? So
A blind? Oh yeah, no shit.
yeah, they were hunting out of a blind. So
Yeah. There's a lot of them there. They piss off the locals more than they don't now. It's at that stage.
there is a.
Yeah. But there's some freaking hammers there too, real big ones.
Is there?
Yeah, yeah.
What about Duncan? I heard there's some big ones in Duncan. No,
Yeah, they're pretty good. They got a bow zone there. I've noticed the past few people that got the bow draw there. There's a lot of them, but it doesn't seem to quite have the gargantuan bulls like that I've been filming out here. You know, at Cornwall and stuff like that. There's some pretty big ones there, but not like you get in, the Adam and Eve River. Up past up in Sayward and stuff. Those ones.
Sayward, that's the town. That's where we were hunting. Sayward.
Oh, Sayward.
Sayward, yeah.
You went too? So you go stay in those little cabins behind the back down the road behind the gas station?
No, we just we stayed in their trailer. Brought my RV.
Right on. So
yeah, we were hunting the White River. The White River. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's freaking monsters in there.
I know, but we were there in a bad year though. Like 2023 was bad. We had 4 COs meet us at the store there when we gassed up and got whatever we needed, saying that the locals were hammering them pretty hard that summer, and took all the big bulls. So and then it was right because 4 days in, we only saw that one bull. It was a 6x5 with like 4 cows, probably a 4-year-old bull. But yeah, all the big ones were hammered that summer by the locals. So yes. And the locals from Port Hardy were coming down to take them too.
Yeah. It kind of happened here too, though. I don't know if you ever seen some of the posts I make. It has a pretty big non-typical bull on there. Last year, he's dead. Yeah. And then I filmed a bunch of other ones at the head of the road up here. They're all dead.
Yeah. See. Yeah.
What do you do, right?
Yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, I must better get going. I gotta go. Feed the frickin' farm.
All right. Well, I'm grateful for you doing this. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah. We'll
I love getting the same people from the same loaf of bread on here finally and talk about some hunting and stuff.
Yeah.
And sure. Well, especially if somebody's had that weird experience, just throw it out there. Who gives a shit? Just let it out, man. Talk about it.
Yeah. And my employee that worked there, is there any? Would you like him to reach out to you? Tell him what he saw in Tofino, or no? It's just a.
I don't care. If he wants to, give her. But you know what? I'm getting reached out to about 30 times.
Holy shit. Wow.
Every day.
Yeah, see? So what's another call then? It doesn't matter.
That's all. I'm at the point now. If it's going to help him, frickin' tell him to get a hold of me as soon as he can.
Yeah, it won't help him. He actually went back to the spot and he set up a trail camera and everything. But I'm like, yeah, okay, man. I don't know if that's going to work. But
how long ago did that happen?
Probably 5 years ago or so, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still going on. It's pretty well almost daily around here.
That's crazy. That's just crazy.
Yeah, but when you know how common it is, then you realize, holy shit, did their campaign of keeping this under the ropes was pretty good. Okay?
I know.
What an effort to keep this from being publicly acknowledged. What an effort.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
There's something bigger at play.
Huge. Yeah. I think I pretty well got it figured out for myself, but I never dictate shit to anybody. I let everybody figure it out for themselves,
Yeah.
But there's
the facts, right?
Yeah, exactly. If this went mainstream acknowledgement, every single thing unravels. If it has anything to do with control, manipulation, power, everything unravels like that.
Good point. Yeah, you're right.
So it'll never happen, but who gives a shit? The people who want us, they can pound it, man. As long as the people talk to each other, so all we got is each other anyway.
Exactly. Yep. I hear you, Steve. Okay, buddy.
Okay, man. I'll talk to you again. If you guys want a discussion, we'll talk about that later on.
Okay, man.
It'll be good. I want to hear some more stories, and I got some more goofy ones I want to get out there too.
Bet you do. Okay, thanks.
I'll talk to you later on, buddy.
See you, bud.
Later.
Bye.